Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video, and in this video we are going to continue our journey and see if we can complete the original, well, versus Super Int, but the Extreme Physical versus Super Int Super Battle Road stage. So we're going to take a look at the units here. We're going to see just which units we can use, which are pretty good, which are bad, etc. And then we'll get a good idea of how we built our team. So in terms of lead, we are using a Ginyu Force member. We're using the EZA Raccoon. So Raccoon is a pretty solid unit overall. He obviously with his EZA became a 77% Terrifying Conquerors lead, which we're using for the majority of our team. And he is also a 50% physical support unit. So he got an EZA, he's very solid. We're using him with his EZA, like I said, 77% Terrifying Conquerors lead. He does guard against all types, which is great, but obviously in this stage, because you're constantly fighting with advantage, your type advantage, you always have guard, so it's kind of irrelevant. The main thing is he's decently tanky and he builds up stats quite well, and so overall he's a pretty solid unit just to use for that front slot. His leader skill also is the main reason why we're bringing him as well. Terrifying Conquerors allows us to use the LR Boo and Bubdi. Very solid unit, very good unit. They bring with them a medium chance of sealing the enemy and a medium chance of stunning the enemy. With their 12 key, with their 18 key, they have a medium chance of sealing and medium chance of stunning as well. They also have raw baseline stats. They gain 40,000 attack and defense. They get an additional 30,000 when the opponent's in an attack down. These type of things really help them out because with low leader skills, these kind of borderline stats just kind of help more than percentile stats, or can make up for some of that difference. They do obviously launch an additional attack that has a medium chance of becoming a super attack if the enemy is sealed or in attack down, defense down, etc. They also recover 5% HP at the end of the turn in which an attack was received. So they provide some healing. They're pretty solid. They're just very good LR. The friend unit that we're utilizing is obviously the Cooler. So this is the physical Cooler, the 130% physical type lead Cooler. Very solid unit. Obviously just does a bucket load of damage. Only 55% this one, but it's more than fine. We did have to use a bit more items in this stage than I've used in some of the other ones. I think overall, it was a decent team, but it's probably slightly more challenging than the other stages, at least, the ones we have done so far. Cooler's a great lead though, does big damage, and he pairs okay with the Boo and Bubbly. I mean, it's not like they share huge links or anything, but they managed to get enough key to get the job done. So very solid option there. Then we obviously have Second Form Frieza. So Second Form Frieza is an AoE dealing unit, which is why we have him. Very solid unit as well. Does additional attack and defense when facing two enemies, additional attack when the enemy's in defense down status, also has attack and defense of plus 60%. An important thing when you use the Second Form Frieza is that we do want to link him up with this Movie Boss's Frieza. Now the Movie Boss's Frieza has aged a little bit. He does reduce damage received and builds up defense over time, but he is relatively, not necessarily the greatest, but he shares strongest clan in space with the Second Form Frieza. And the reason why that's so important is because that immediately gives the defense down status to the opposition, which immediately improves the attack capabilities of the Second Form Frieza. So it's very important to run those two together, or if you are going to run the Second Form Frieza, you need to run with that kind of link active so that you can get that additional damage immediately without having to proc it. And so pretty solid unit, obviously, just to pair with the Second Form Frieza just because of how they work and how the mechanics work. Obviously, just in terms of like the other units, so we have the demon goddess Poutine. So Poutine is attack and defense of 120%, which is great. She also has an additional attack and defense of 12% per crossover unit. On the team, we don't have a lot of those, so you're not going to get that. She gets an additional attack of 70% when the target enemy is stunned or the target enemy's super attack is sealed. So she's a nice follow-up unit to the Boo and Bubdi should they get the seal off. And then she obviously supports crossover category allies. That's not too important, but she does debuff the enemy and seals their super attack, which is great, and she can also bring a stun as well. So she's pretty strong, a nice floating unit, very, very powerful. And alongside her, we have the Para brothers. Now, the Para brothers, you know, they're a pretty meme-based unit. Recently just came out as part of the April Fools. But you know, they're actually quite a lot of fun. They're pretty cool. You know, they're relatively like useful as well. So I mean, they work more than fine in this event. I wouldn't say they're like the greatest unit in the world. But yeah, they're great as a floater here. They provide defense to our rotation. They do a lot of utility. So obviously, you know, they boost allies attack, which doesn't really matter too much considering they're going to be floating, but they do give all allies attack and defense at 25%. You know, they give all allies additional, you know, or they give themselves additional defense and all allies additional defense when they pick up key spheres in the 3rd slot. So even though they're not going to be like doing necessarily huge damage or anything themselves, they do provide a lot of support to our team, and that's great. It really helps us out quite a lot. So yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to like team build and everything like that. Obviously, you know, our rotations are pretty set up. We've got movie bosses Frieza and, you know, second form Frieza. As with all the previous SBR on the free-to-play challenge, just remember that the, you know, fights that I fight aren't necessarily the fights that you will fight. You know, it changes from like fight to fight. Sometimes you fight certain units, other times you fight other units, and it just changes. So be prepared for whatever you can. Try not to like you know, get too caught up in anything, and yeah, just do your best basically. Do the best you can, and then you should be fine. You'll see that we're going to try and avoid getting the Dokkan attack here, just so we can save it for the final round. As always, try not to waste your Dokkan attack. It's generally, you know, your best option in terms of clearing stages pretty quickly. So try not to waste it, save it if you can. It doesn't matter if you use it on the 3rd or 4th stage, but try and get it at the beginning of the stage so that you can do as much damage as possible. That's really what's going to help you out. Here we're going to pop 2 items just to be safe. No need to not pop items realistically. It's like there's no safety net that we need to fall back on or anything like that. And we should be fine. You know, we should be more than good to go. We're going to get the Dokkan attack here with this Frieza, which is fine, because that means that he's going to do AoE damage. It is a little bit pointless giving an AoE unit the Dokkan attack, just because it's not maximizing their damage, because they already do AoE. So by giving it to Frieza, we're getting basically a second AoE attack, even if it's not necessarily the biggest AoE attack. It still will do decent damage to all of them, and then that followed up with other Frieza's AoE attack is going to be pretty good, and he's going to be able to knock out quite a few of them, which is great. And then we're just left with Goku, and we'll be able to take him out next turn. The Para brothers are unfortunately not going to be enough for us to seal the victory, so to say. But yeah, we ended up with a decent showing here. I think we did quite well. I think overall was a pretty good effort, you know, by like the units and everything, and I think we did a decent job. So that's pretty much going to be it from me though. I don't really think there's anything else that we need to cover here. So yeah, that's it. We got the victory, all really straightforward, and yeah, no real issues. So very good job, very clean run. And yeah, everything ended up working out more than fine. So that's pretty much it. If you need any further help, obviously you can leave a comment down below and I will try and get back to you. But otherwise, thanks for watching and I will see you guys in the next video. So until then, take care and bye.